When you think of an Edinburgh River, you likely think of the River Forth. But if I were to point to a river more in relation to Edinburgh, I would actually say the Water of Leith. Now, don't get me wrong, you can see the River Forth from space, but the Forth only relates to the north of Edinburgh, whereas the Water of Leith passes from Balerno in the southwest to Leith in the north, passing through a massive swathe of Edinburgh in the process, and thus is a link to a lot of history. We're not going to go through all the river in this video, but today we are going to concentrate on an area south of the Slateford Viaduct. So come with me as we talk about the Water of Leith. Okay, so the Water of Leith is a little odd. You don't really see many rivers being called Water of that often. You might have a river like the Gala Water in Gala Shields or the Linhouse Water in West Lothian, but not really a Water of. Well, in Scots and to a certain extent in Gaelic, a water was a halfway point between a burn and a river. For example, the River Esk is most certainly a river, while the Goulburn is most certainly a burn. But the Water of Leith is too big to be considered a burn, but too small to be considered a proper river. I bring up Gaelic because the name of the Water of Leith in Gaelic is Uskalicha, and it reminded me of a river near Callander called the Gareth Uska. The Leith part should be obvious. Its mouth is in Leith, which comes from a Brythonic word meaning damp. I mean, I get it, the Water of Leith isn't as grand as the Tweed or the Forth, but it's still a nice river. That's why it's called the Water of Leith rather than the Leith Burn or the River Leith. For all intents and purposes, I am starting off this jaunt at Harlaw Reservoir, which, while not being the official source of the river, is a nice place to start. The reservoir was constructed between 1843 and 48 by the Edinburgh Water Company to a design by James Jardine, who, amongst other things, calculated the world mean sea level and designed the Innocent Railway. But we're not here to talk about the reservoir, no. We are here to talk about Cairns Castle. Cairns Castle is a ruin, as is the other castle we talk about later on, but it's a fascinating ruin. It used to be a listed building until 2015 when it was delisted. It is a 15th century castle built by William de Cairns, but after the marriage of his granddaughter, the castle passed into the hands of the Crichtons, a family who included James Crichton, also known as the Admiral Crichton, for being a polymath, and William Crichton, who is notorious for the Black Dinner, where he murdered two young noblemen in front of the then, also young, king. So yeah, smarts and murder. The castle, on the other hand, has seen better days, and when I say better days, I mean better days. The castle is in such a ruined state that it's been delisted. That's right, that can happen, which is kind of a shame. Here's what Canmore has to say about how it looked. Originally L-plan, a major and a minor tower with a turnpike staircase in the mutual corner. Customary cellars on the ground floor, the kitchen fireplace later turned into a principal door. Entrance tower to the east now vanished. It's currently, as far as I know, on private land, and even then it's not easy to get to, so maybe hardier souls can get there. But this won't be the last castle we'll be talking about, but for now, let's move downstream. Here we reach the mills. When you look at an old map of the Water of Leith, one thing you'll likely notice are all the mills, and this is not at all a coincidence. Before steam and electricity, if you wanted to power a large machine like a factory, the best way you could do that was through water power. Rivers have a lot of energy, and people have been using water mills since at least 221 BC. Like a lot of inventions, it was Chinese, and by the 18th century, water wheels were powering mills in Europe, sparking off the Industrial Revolution. Water power is still being used to this day to generate electricity, like at the hydro scheme in Saughton, which I'm sure we'll touch upon eventually, but anyway, back to the mills. They included, in no particular order, Balerno Mill, Kinleith, Juniper Green, Westmill, Spylaw, Colinton Barley Mill, Boggs Mill, Angle Park, Saughton Mills, Dean, Slateford, Mossy Mill, Woodhall Bank, and Leith Head Mill. A lot of these mills were surprisingly old, one dating back to the 18th century, specifically Kinleith. The mills produced a lot of very interesting products. Amongst the mills were corn mills, snuff mills, barley mills, paper mills, spice mills, no, not that kind of spice, but one mill, more specifically West Mill, was where Scots porridge oats was made. Today, however, it is a housing estate, so don't go there expecting fresh porridge oats. If you want porridge oats, there's a co-op 10 minutes walk away. If you look carefully, you might actually find evidence of the mills dotted about, like a bit of masonry or abandoned mill lead. For the most part, all the mills on this part of the Water of Leith are long abandoned. Fun fact, Colinton has a castle. A ruined one, but that is more than I can say about some areas of Edinburgh, for example, Corstorphine. Anyway, actually visiting Colinton Castle might be a bit of a problem because it's now on the grounds of Merchiston Castle School, which is confusingly named after Merchiston Castle, which still exists on Napier University's Merchiston campus. Yes, very confusing. But anyway, this castle is quite an interesting story. It was built in the 16th century as a 3-storey tower house, but was later added on to in the 17th century, until Oliver Cromwell burnt it down. So by the 18th century it was a ruin, and it would become more of a ruin thanks to Alexander Naismith. Wait, I hear you say, because as I keep reminding you, I am watching you at all times. Alexander Naismith, the painter. Well, yes, you might know Alexander Naismith as the man who painted Robert Burns, but he was also husband of one Barbara Fullis, daughter of Sir James Fullis, 5th Baronet of Colinton, so Colinton Castle was on their land. At this point the castle was in better nick than it is now, but Naismith didn't think the ruin was romantic enough, so he had part of it pulled down. I don't think I've said this before, but I've always had a bit of a hatred for the Romantics because a lot of them were rich hipsters cosplaying as one thing or another, and I just find that a little tasteless, and demolishing a historic site to make it seem more, quote, romantic, end quote, just adds to my disdain. This wouldn't be the last time something would fall from the castle. In 2003, the south tower of the castle collapsed, which is great for archaeologists to look at masonry, but not too good for the castle. Today, it's not really accessible by the public because, well, it's on the grounds of a school, so if you actually want to visit it, you either have to be hired by the school, be of age and money to attend said school, or somehow get permission to visit it. Either way, I don't think it'd be that easy to visit. So this is only one part of the Water of Leith, and there are far more things to explore, but for now, I think it's time to leave it be, so join us next time as we explore the Water of Leith.